Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Brian Corbin, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to find and use credible sources in your writing for college and academia in general. All right, so one of the first things we need to consider with credible sources is why should we even use them? You need to care about credible sources. This is because your audience relies upon you to give information that's factual, trustworthy, and truthful. Not utilizing credible sources shows disrespect to your audience. A lack of credible sources also shows lack of care on the part of the author, or that would be you if you're writing for a class or for anything else for that matter. The world is full of opinions and ideas, but most of them are not credible. Credible sources add meaning and substance to any form of writing. The more credible your writing is, the more serious you'll be taken with your comments and everything you express in text and even verbally. Next, what are some examples of credible sources? A lot of times sites that end in edu, gov, or org are fine to use, but remember, if there's a certain slant or a huge bias on those sites, you might want to stay away from those. Sites such as NPR, the New York Times, LA Times, those are usually fine to use. Those are major publications. Local newspapers might also be considered credible sources, especially if the newspaper publishers have a reputation for vetting the sources and being factual and truthful with their audiences. Peer-reviewed articles, which I'll talk about later, are perfectly fine to use and they are considered credible sources. Books written by established authors from well-known publishing companies are A-OK to use, as are major news magazines. Another great option and a great way to find sources is to go to Google Scholar, and you can just go to scholar.google.com. It is a great place to start. To look for articles, simply type in the title or the subject or the topic, whatever it is, into the search engine, and then you can look for those same articles on the college database. Google Scholar tends to be more friendly in terms of what it retrieves and how to find information and how it sorts information. It's easy to set search parameters on Google Scholar, and then it's simple to go back to the college database and type in the article title, or if that doesn't work, the author's last name and the year of publication. Keep in mind though, not all articles that you find on Google Scholar will be available in the college database. It's because certain colleges pay for certain databases, so thus all articles on Google Scholar will definitely not be available in the library database. A nice thing about Google Scholar is all you have to do is copy the citation into your paper and then make minor tweaks. So you can copy the reference. There's actually a function which I'll make in another video show you how to do that, and then copy that into your paper, and it'll be much easier for the reference page. Some sources that are off limits include blogs, Facebook posts, Snapchat, TikTok, your relatives and friends. Most of social media is really off limits for doing research papers. You can use social media as examples to prove points, but they should not be and cannot be your main sources, and they do not count as your required references. Blogs and Facebook posts, things like that, are good places to get an idea of places and things you can learn about, but really you need to go to some of those other sources that I discussed in previous slides. One way to consider if a source is relevant is to look at the CRAAP acronym, which stands for currency, relevancy, authority, accuracy, and purpose. I'll explain each of these in the next few slides. With currency, you want to ask, how recent was the article published? Does it contain the most accurate and current thoughts on the topic? Are the facts recent? You don't want to find facts that are 10, 20 years old if possible. You want to look for the most recent evidence that is available. A lot of government websites actually have great information such as job statistics, how many people are in school, things like that. So you can always double check some government websites and see what's most current and available for you to use in your research paper or just your paper that you're writing in general. Relevancy, of course, refers to how relevant is the information that you're talking about, you're writing about. Does the information in the article truly answer your research question? Does the information advance your thesis statement? If not, don't use it. Is there anything in the paper that advances your assertions or enhances your comments in a compelling and interesting way. If not, I recommend not using it. And you want to make sure that the text directly relates to your paper in a way that's easy to understand. So think about that as you look for sources that are credible and relevant to use. Next, you want to consider authority. Who wrote the article? What is the author's credentials? What are they? Did the person get a master's degree, a doctorate degree? Why are they an expert, and why are they good to consider as an author and their points of view valid? What makes the author credible to write on the issue? This is important too. Where is the article published? Was it published on yomama.blogspot.com? If so, you want to look for a different publication. You want to make sure you can trust the publication. And something else to consider is the article peer-reviewed? A peer-reviewed article is one that is vetted by people in the field that have expertise on the knowledge and topic that the article is written about. And then, of course, you want to look at what the tone of the article is. Is it biased or is it full of facts? So that helps you to understand what an authoritative article might look like and what to consider. Next, you want to look for purpose. Why was the article written? Was it written to persuade, to show both sides of an issue, or maybe to demean another idea, a political party, or another person? Or sometimes articles are just written to get viewers onto a website for them to click on advertisements to make more money. Really consider the purpose of the article, and that will help you figure out whether or not it's a credible source that you can and should use in your paper. Peer-reviewed articles are articles that are checked for quality by other experts in the field. The text undergoes factual checks, so the peer reviewers actually check and make sure that the facts are correct, the information is truthful, things like that. And oftentimes peer-reviewed articles go under what's called a blind review, and that is where the author's name and information about him or her is hidden. This helps increase the objectivity of the author's review, the peer reviews that are happening. People serving on peer reviews usually have experience and credentials, almost always that is necessary to understand the concepts being written about and discussed. And this is typically the highest form of scrutiny an author can undergo when attempting to publish a paper. And advanced search engines on Google and in the library, they allow for you to search for peer-reviewed articles only. And I can show you how to do that on another video. What about Wikipedia? People often say, hey, can I use Wikipedia? Well, it's a good starting place and it's good to use general knowledge, but you should not use it as a source. Some sources that the Wikipedia article site can be used, but you have to go to the original source and you have to paraphrase directly from it. Wikipedia is not good because anyone can add or subtract from the information, and the writing does not undergo any kind of vetting or peer review process whatsoever. So do not use Wikipedia as a source, but you might be able to find sources you can use from Wikipedia. In conclusion, you want to make sure you look for sources that are not older than 5 years, but try not to go back 10 years. Consider the relevancy, authority, accuracy, and purpose of the data. Use college databases as much as possible. Try using Google Scholar. And remember, the more credible your sources are in your paper, the more credible you are as an author. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found this helpful.